The story begins when Sakurai met his childhood friend Uzaki while he was going to college. However, he couldn't recognize her because her body shape was transformed in an unbelievable way. As she still had cute childish features, but her body shape was really strange.
What the fuck?
Even the cat was shocked by Uzaki's shape, and when he realized that she was really that feisty, he allowed her to accompany him a little as she asked him about his commitment to swimming because he always practiced it in high school. But he told her that he could not swim because the college lacked a swimming pool. And even so, the college has many good things that the student can enjoy. But he was just a disgusting, worthless loser because he was basically not doing any activity at all. All year he was sleeping, playing, or reading a boring novel, adding that he was isolated to everyone.
Emotional, damn it!
Meanwhile, Uzaki has been watching him all year as she feels pity for Sakurai because he is just a worthless loser. So she wanted to help him and get him out of that miserable life that he had been living all year in college, and she told him that his reclusive lifestyle would end today. During the lunch break, he opens his phone to find that the lecture has been cancelled. And when he was thinking about how to fill his free time, suddenly Uzaki-chan comes rushing where she jumped on him and hit him with her ass. And while he was angry, she was provoking him and told him that she could not eat with him because she did it with her friends, but she could watch him eat food. He was going to burst out of anger because of Uzaki's stupidity and told her that he was going to go for a walk alone this evening. Then he went. But Uzaki was walking right behind him and said that she suddenly became free this evening and she wants to go out with him. But he was ignoring her all the time and asked her to stop following him. However, she looked at him with all sarcasm and told him that he was ashamed of her. She wanted to know where he was going to go in the evening, but he didn't know. At that moment, Uzaki became angry and she wanted to know the reason why he was acting coldly with her. So he told her that it was because of his temperament, and when she heard this stupid answer, she became angry and exposed him among all the students, as she said that he is just a selfish person who always exploits her and plays with her like a doll. Everyone is looking at him in a disgusting way because he doesn't have a shred of masculinity, and even though it's all just a misunderstanding, he decided to take her with him. In the evening, they went to the cinema where Uzaki was surprised because she thought Sakurai would take her to a restaurant or something. But he took her to a cinema, so she burst out laughing at him because he wanted to watch a movie alone, and these things only loners do. He became angry and silenced her and told her that everyone has the freedom to watch movies the way they want, and asked her to stop laughing at people's hobbies. At that moment, she was moving her head because she understood his words and said that he was talking like a real loner. So he wanted to hit her, but nevertheless he kept explaining it to her. But she told him that if he went alone to the cinema, he would not be able to burn the events of the movie on his friends. After hearing all this nonsense, he regretted bringing this nuisance with him. And even if he hadn't taken her, she would have disguised herself and spied on him, as she told him that it would be fun when she saw him buying dirty CDs. So he pinched her nose hard and asked her to stop bullying others. But the problem is that the time was up and he couldn't choose the movie he wanted to watch. He postponed it to another day and asked Uzaki to choose a new movie. She was excited that she had chosen a superhero movie. Sakurai wanted to replay that movie alone earlier because of its events, and this is the right opportunity. So he quickly went to get 2 tickets and was looking towards Uzaki. His features tell us that he feels guilty because he was cruel to her. But suddenly she comes up to him and she laughs at him again, saying she wants to change the movie.
Back the fuck up, I'd knock the fuck out you.
So he pinches her by the nose. After they finished the movie, they completed their walk, but Uzaki wanted to go to the electronics store to buy earphones. He agreed and went with her, and while he was choosing her a good quality, suddenly she called him and asked him to sit on the massage chair for a bit. Since he was feeling tired, he decided to sit down, as the feeling was good, so he wanted to increase the strength of the jerks a little. And as soon as he did this, Uzaki began to make awkward sounds that might make any man lose concentration and have fun while hearing it. Since Sakurai was not a man at all, he asked her to stop and wanted to leave the place. But suddenly she went to try another machine where everything was shaking. Sakurai put his hand on his face because he didn't want to see the real beauty.
Why are you gay?
And he turned her away, but she wanted to try something else. Virtual reality games. It was the first time, and even then she wasn't afraid of zombies and she was crazy excited. At that moment, Sakurai was impressed by her performance, but suddenly she hit him on his ugly face with full force. Then it was his turn, but he liked quiet games, and it was a game for exploring the depths of the sea. The atmosphere was very fun and calm, But suddenly a giant shark appeared in front of him and was trying to devour him. Sakurai looked like a complete idiot, so Uzaki wanted to record a video doing these funny movements. But suddenly he grabbed her from that place and was wondering about the thing he grabbed. Is it an octopus or a jellyfish, because it was very soft and big.
Oh my.
The poor woman would have burst out of a lot of shame at that moment. And as usual, the cat was watching them with crazy features. Anyways, they went to try the baseball, as Sakurai had always told her that he was a professional in baseball since middle school days, but the exact opposite happened, and he was just a loser while she was laughing at him non-stop. He had had enough of playing and left the game, but Uzaki wanted to experiment. And in fact, she walked onto the court and grabbed a baseball stick like a professional player. But while trying to hit the ball, she gets an injury to her back because she didn't do stretching exercises. He quickly went to her and asked her to come home, and tomorrow she should go to the doctor. But her features suddenly became serious and she told him that he should take her to dinner. There is no solution for him, so he really took her to a store famous for fried chicken dishes, and he started talking to her about how serious her back injuries were and told her that she needed to go to the doctor. And when he wanted to eat, he found the plate empty, so he started yelling at her because she was as gluttonous as Luffy. The cook asked him to stop treating his beloved cruelly, and he gave them another free plate of food, and again she ate it all before Sakurai tasted it. So he lost his temper and ordered another fried chicken dish, and this time he forbade her to share food with him. And the next day she told him that she would like to go out with him again even though her back hurts, but he told her that he was busy today. Suddenly he became aware that accompanying Uzaki is fun and told her that he would take her with him next time. But suddenly, in front of the students, she told him that her back hurts because of the thing they did last night.
Oh! Ew!
So he got angry and asked her to shut her f***ing mouth. Sakurai was working part-time in a cafe like every time. The owner of the cafe was impressed by Sakurai's ingenuity and was always praising him. But suddenly he heard him screaming at the loudest, and this was the first time he heard his screams. So he took a peek to find Sakurai fighting with a cute girl. She wanted to sit here for coffee and eat, but he told her that she had to leave here quickly before he pinched her by the nose. Suddenly she noticed Akihiko hiding. He told her that he was just checking in the inventory and asked her if she was studying in elementary or middle school. Sakurai told him that she is studying in college and he is 1 year older than her, so she calls him senpai all the time. And when Akihiko stood up, he noticed the ferocity that Uzaki possessed and became shocked by her, because he realized that she was already studying at the college. At that moment, Uzaki was wondering about the reason why Akihiko was mistaken about her real age. Sakurai told her about the reason and said that she is very short like dwarfs. Thanks to Akihiko, she will stay in the cafe, so Sakurai should treat her like a customer, and when he went to her, he asked her in a rough tone about her order. She didn't like it and was complaining to the owner that the waiter wasn't behaving properly with the customers, so he had to take a pay cut. The owner found out that this duo is funny, so he decided to watch. Sakurai was still fighting with Uzaki and told her that he didn't want to treat her like the rest of the customers because she would make fun of him. So she told him that it was impossible since she just wanted some respect. Nothing more, nothing less, and when he noticed her seriousness, he smiled at her and told her that she was special, and she should order a cola or something, and then she should leave. At that moment, Akihiko asked him to treat her like a customer, so Sakurai went and brought her a glass of water and a napkin, and then asked her in a gentle tone about her request. And when she noticed Sakurai's funny features, she laughed at him non-stop, so he grabbed her and kicked her on the ass outside the cafe. The owner was also laughing and asked Sakurai to accompany Uzaki home because it would be dark soon, and on the way home she asked him to go to eat, and when he refused her request, she told him to let her eat anything in the cafe next time. And she mocked him again because of that stupid smile, but she told him that despite everything, that cafe is beautiful, and she wishes to work in it too. He smiled because her words are true and told her that he loves that place. The next day, while Sakurai was going to school, he found a stray cat on the way, and she was looking at him like a tiger. At the same time, Uzaki was coming from the other side to accompany Senpai the loser. But she became disgusted when she saw him petting the cat. It was so bad that it looked like a fight. So Uzaki went to the cat and was really good at dealing with cats. And when she was explaining to him the things that cats are afraid of, suddenly a speeding bicycle came and scared the cat because of the sound of brakes. The cat ran away and Sakurai became depressed because he wanted to play with the cat, but unfortunately the cat ran away. However, Uzaki decided to look for the cat, and she ran quickly as she noticed her tail and jumped towards her, but even so the cat ran away again. The problem is that Uzaki became stuck among the dense vegetation and was asking Sakurai for help, and when he reached her, he noticed the protrusion of her panties, so he slapped her and asked her to cover her ass. She screamed so hard, and when she found out that he saw her panties, she decided to take revenge on him later. But now she has to get out, so she asked him to grab her to pull her by the waist. And when he started pulling it, he was imagining other things that had nothing to do with the cat. At that moment, two girls going to school had noticed Sakurai helping Uzaki, and of course they misunderstood and ran away after shouting at the loudest of their voices. Seconds later, he finally managed to pull her out, and she forgot what happened to her a little while ago because he helped her. But he was still sad about the cat's escape. They went then, and at lunchtime she came to him, and she wanted to tell him that she couldn't have lunch with him because she would do it with his friend. He couldn't look at her because of that awkward situation and told her that he would also eat with his friend. And this made her shocked because this sullen introvert is impossible to have friends. When he was having lunch, he suddenly noticed Uzaki was making strange movements in front of him, and when he ignored her, she sent him a message asking how he was after he was abandoned. And so they started texting each other non-stop, as she forgot the pasta in the water for a long time, and so she lost the lunch. After studying as usual, Sakurai went to work in a cafe and was talking with Akihiko about college points. Akihiko told him that his daughter, after getting all the points, became very lazy. Just minutes later, Uzaki comes, so Sakurai yells at her because he previously told her he didn't want to see her at the cafe. But she came because she wants him to help her write a report, even though he refused because he was busy. At that moment, Akihiko said that he could work in his place while he was helping his kohei, and Sakurai actually started helping her write the report. But during that she started asking him about his house, and she wanted to visit him one day. She was even ready to sleep with him in the same house. He did not understand that she wanted to sleep at home, so he told her that a girl should not visit a single guy living alone. And when he noticed that she wanted to sleep with him and not just visit him, he became angry and said that he would not allow her to spend one night at his house. He finally calmed down, but suddenly she started talking about video games, as she told him about wanting to play with him after college for days. So he became screaming again, saying that she is just stupid and stupid. At that moment, Akihiko was laughing because he actually enjoyed watching Sakurai and Uzaki together. Days later, Akihiko's daughter named Ami came to work, and her favorite hobby is observing people and analyzing their personalities, as she was focused with Sakurai's performance at work. But the thing that made her drool was his sculpted body. When she heard him tell the girls that his hobby was swimming, she became shy and wanted to see him swim and move his muscles. But while her mind was wandering, her father came to her and told her that she had to focus on work first of all. So she apologized, but she thought about Sakurai's body again. During this, Uzaki comes as usual, where she greets Sakurai and Akihiko. But Ami didn't know her as she was wary of her because her father was acting with Uzaki like children. So she asked Sakurai about this girl, as he told her that she studies at the same college as him and her name is Uzaki. She is still curious and she wanted to know about Uzaki's relationship with the loser Sakurai. However, her father told her to serve water to the customer instead of intruding on others. When she offered her a glass of water and asked her her name, Uzaki introduced herself in a funny way, as Ami became amazed at the wit of Uzaki, but her surprise turned into fear when she looked at this monster. At that moment, Sakurai noticed that the jug of water on Uzaki's table was running out, so he went to the refrigerator to get more. And after Ami finished talking with Uzaki, she returned to her father, where he told her to watch them and have fun. Then Sakurai was going to supply Uzaki with water. But at the same time she was also going to get water herself, so Sakurai bumped into her and dropped cold water on himself. While Akihiko and his daughter were watching and enjoying the show that happened in front of them. But the next day Sakurai missed work because he caught a cold as a result of the cold water. And strangely enough, Uzaki was completely healthy, even though she was also getting wet. Meanwhile, Sakurai was unable to stand up even from the severity of the illness, and while he was trying to sleep, suddenly Uzaki came, and she was ringing the bell in such a provocative way that Sakurai quickly got up to open the door, but lost consciousness after he opened it for her. So she began to feel sorry for him while he was thinking only about the person who gave her his home address, told her that he did not go to the hospital and did not take food and medicine. So she went out shopping because he had no food at home, and with lightning speed she bought everything and prepared a delicious meal for him. But he wanted to eat by himself and discovered that the food was delicious, so he finished it. After that, Uzaki brought a towel and a bucket of water, and she wanted him to take off his clothes to help him wipe his body of sweat. But he was stubborn, so she forced him to take off his shirt and helped him wipe his back as she was very close to him. The cat was sitting on the street and was shocked by Uzaki. Then she gave him the medicine and told him that she would come home after he fell asleep, and she would leave him the key in the mailbox at the door of the house. So he became surprised that she would do that too and thanked her for everything. She decided to play a little while until Sakurai fell asleep, but she was screaming because she was unable to defeat one of the characters in the game, and so they started fighting again. The next day when he was on the street, he met with Ami where he thanked her for taking his place during his absence. And while he was acting like an idiot, she asked him to invite Uzaki because Akihiko held a feast for him on his recovery. During their celebration, Uzaki was happy with Sakurai's recovery and grilled a large number of pieces of meat and joked with him in a provocative way as usual. When she went to the bathroom, the old man and his daughter asked Sakurai about the things that happened between him and Uzaki at home. But he told them that his relationship with her was just a normal relationship, as he basically didn't want her to be at home with him because she was annoying, and he preferred to be quiet, adding that she would be in trouble if people knew about it. So they start calling him gloomy. Only after that Uzaki comes back from the shower, but became angry at Sakurai because he was calling Ami by her first name, even though he was telling her that he was doing it to avoid confusing her with her father only. However, she doesn't care about the reasons, and she eats good pieces of meat to annoy Sakurai. And when they went to school, she brought a string and a coin to hypnotize Sakurai. But the method was a failure, but Sakurai wanted to act in front of her. Since she asked him to call her by her first name, which is Hana, he started pronouncing her name incorrectly at first. And when he pronounced her first name correctly, she became happy and wanted to hear him call her that name several times. The fool was doing everything, but he hit her on the head because she wanted him to buy her huge numbers of food. But she became sad and said that he was mean because he treats her cruelly even though he has known her for a long time. And she was jealous of Ami because he calls her by her first name. This made him feel guilty, and he wanted to calm her down a little, saying that he was doing this with Ami just for work, adding that he apologized for everything, and in fact she was satisfied. Then he wanted to try hypnosis on Uzaki, and indeed she fell asleep. So he was scared and began researching the book on how to bring her back to normal, even though this is the right opportunity to do everything. The next day, when he goes to the cafe, his manager tells him that he and Ami are going to the hot springs for the Golden Week, and he says Sakurai should take a vacation as well. He was supposed to go somewhere, but he had been playing video games for so long that his eye became surrounded by dark circles, and he would have lost his sight if Uzaki hadn't come home, as she started ringing the bell in a silly way to provoke Sakurai. When he opened the door to her, she provoked him more because he is a loner who spends the holidays at home to play video games, as she wanted to get him out of isolation to try a game called Dorm and Go, although he did not want it because it was also a game and he turned off the phone. So she convinced him to go out, and she was the one who found the first character. When she was trying to tell Sakurai about it, she noticed the extreme fatigue on his face, so she was afraid of him and she was saying that she was going to report him. Then she noticed that he was hunting many characters and they were all gorillas of the first level. And while talking about the game, he began to close his eyes and said that he could not look at the screen for a long time because of the pain, so she fainted at him and took him to the glasses store where they found the ugly Ami in the store. Since Sakurai was just a worthless loser, the girls started bullying him as they were treating him like a doll. Uzaki used to propose glasses to him every time, arguing that their shape is attractive, but when Sakurai puts them on, she bursts out laughing at him. But suddenly Ami brought him another one, and she was saying that these glasses fit him perfectly, as she asked him to raise his fist up and open his mouth a little to look like a horse racing fan or something like that. It was Uzaki's turn to get glasses, as she preferred the color red, and when she wanted to know Sakurai's opinion, he was silent for several seconds and told her that she looked stupid in a strange way. And his opinion, this was like a declaration of war on Uzaki, as she started fighting with him while Ami was enjoying this show. And so they left the place empty-handed and went to the train where they were playing Dorm and Go. And while they were playing, the train stops to get a lot of people on board. During that, a huge person comes who was wearing a gorilla mask and pushes Sakurai on Uzaki as they became stuck together, which made them blush. When he realized the seriousness of the situation in which he was, he decided to distract his concentration a little. But whenever he looked around, he would find a sign or a picture reminding him of the chest. However, he did not give in to his desires as he closed his eyes and began to make scenes about nature in his imagination. Even so, he lost control of himself because of the smell of Uzaki's hair. So he turned into a statue and stayed on the train while she was yelling at him to get off quickly. And when he regained consciousness, he found himself at the last station. The golden week is over, as he returned to work and recounted all the events to his manager and Ami. So Ami was advising him to go to Uzaki to fix it with her. And when he went to her, he found her depressed and completely desperate from life because of the lack of holidays in June, adding that the rains would continue for another month. However, he tells her that he wants to go out with her even though the weather is rainy, as she became excited when she heard a lonely person asking her out and said that she would like to go to the train. When he heard the train, he remembered that embarrassing situation and told her that trains are forbidden as he left planning for her. She was happy until he told her that he was doing all this to make up for what happened during the Golden Week and that it was Ami who suggested everything to him. The weekend came, but the weather was rainy and not suitable for hanging out. And even so, Uzaki came home with some things because she wanted to spend time with Sakurai between eating and trying video games. But before that, she had to take a shower and change her wet clothes, and she wanted Sakurai to share the bathroom with her, but he was just a sullen-faced loser the whole time. After the shower, she cooked him some food and it was delicious, and then they went to play one that looks like Minecraft, but its name is Mew Craft, and they were in tune with each other as the game was online. And after all this fun time, the night came and she had to go home, and while he was accompanying her to the train station, he told her that he wanted to play with her again, and she was shocked by his words, so she told him that the next time would be tomorrow, and she was recommending him to put the food in the refrigerator because it would taste tastier. After saying goodbye to him, she had found out that she had forgotten the train card in the apartment, so she had to get back with him again. And finally, the summer came, so Uzaki was active in the morning while going to college with Sakurai, indicating her desire to come to his house today to complete the construction of her dream house. He told her that that house is scary, and it looks like the castle of the Demon King. During the lecture, this loser fell into a deep sleep because he was up on games at night, and he saw in a dream a cute cat that was about to fall from a high-rise building. So Sakurai rushed to save him. But the cat suddenly jumps on him and causes him to fall as he woke up from a dream terrified and wished that no one would look at him in this state. And when he raised his head, Uzaki glimpsed looking at him in a ridiculous way. So she sat next to him and was bullying him because she watched the moment he woke up from sleep. Suddenly, the professor started talking about the interpretation of dreams, saying that falling from a high place indicates stress or enthusiasm, so Uzaki came back to ridicule him again. And after the silly lecture was over, as usual he was with Uzaki, and he was saying that he doesn't believe in those things that have nothing to do with psychology. And when Uzaki was discussing it with him, she stumbled down the stairs and would have fallen if Sakurai hadn't caught her. He was afraid that she might have a phobia of stairs, and when he noticed her fear, he began to tell her more about this type of phobia in a deep tone of voice, so much so that she began to scream. After that, Sakurai notices his friend talking with some girls to go out at night. But as soon as they noticed the loner, they became scared and ran away. So Sakaki thanked him for his sudden arrival, because basically he didn't want to go out with them. And when they went to drink some juice, he told him that he was in the ocean, after which Sakurai asked about the new in his life. But Sakurai hid his relationship with Uzaki to tell his friend that his life was ordinary between lectures, work, and video games. This made Sakaki lose his temper and became harsh words to his friend because he does not enjoy life at all. And even so, Sakurai ignored him and started drinking as Sakaki got angry and grabbed Sakurai by the neck. While they were fighting, Uzaki came, and she was shocked that Sakurai had a real friend because she thought he was lying to her or that he had an imaginary friend like a psychopath. So they started fighting as usual while Sakaki was quietly watching them. When Uzaki went to the lecture, Sakaki understood everything and was saying that his lonely friend had finally found the love of his life. And although Sakurai told him that his relationship with Uzaki was just a normal relationship, he began to harass him whenever he sees him with Uzaki, where he asked them about whether they had done perverted things with each other or not. But this question made Uzaki blush and Sakurai became angry and was telling him that nothing really happened between them. But at that moment, Uzaki looked towards Sakurai and was smiling as she remembered what happened on the train. So he sweated and started telling her that he doesn't remember anything instead of apologizing to her. The only one who apologized to her was Sakaki, and he was saying that when he noticed his sulky friend having an affair with a girl, he started to feel interested. So she told him that she was going out with Sakurai because he was just a clumsy, sulky, evil, sleepy, worthless loner. Literally, she called him that. So Sakaki told them that they would end up dating each other eventually, And when Sakurai heard this nonsense, he left with Uzaki quickly. At that moment, Ami comes, and she was angry because Sakaki would ruin Uzaki and Sakurai's relationship. He realized that she was interested in them, so he suggested her to ally with him. But she hit the table hard to tell him that she does not need anyone's help as she only wants to watch them. Meanwhile, when Uzaki was eating choco mint chocolate, she wanted Sakurai to taste some, but he hated it because it tasted like toothpaste. So she got angry at him because he started talking like haters of chocolate mint, and she was telling him the story of this chocolate entering Japan, as the number of her fans were few, but thanks to her distinctive taste, her set was sold in the markets, and her ads became everywhere, even on Instagram. After this long story, she began to say touching words expressing her love for this kind of chocolate, as all the students were moved and applauded her. At that moment, Sakurai tells her that he hates the pungent taste of mint since childhood. He even used toothpaste without mint, so he has never tasted a single piece of choco mint in his life. This made Uzaki angry, and she wanted to punch him for judging the taste of chocolate without tasting it. Then she wanted him to taste one piece. He agreed, but realized that Uzaki was eating with the same chopsticks, so he blushed because of the indirect kiss, and she also realized it after eating the last piece as she became shy while that cat was watching everything as usual. The summer vacation has come as Sakurai is surprised by Uzaki joining to work as a waitress in the same cafe where he works, and he starts yelling at her because her presence will erase the calm and turn the cafe into the most noisy place ever. However, Akihiko tells him that when Uzaki came to him asking for a job, he could not refuse her request because he finds her interesting. This ridiculous reason made Sakurai angry, but he was just a waiter who could not object to the decisions of his manager, and he had to teach Uzaki the basics of the business. When he was teaching her how to deal with customers, she told him that it was okay to tell a joke to the customer, and this made Sakurai lose his temper at Uzaki's stupidity, but he discovers that everyone conspired against him, since Ami and Akihiko had taught Uzaki everything before he came to the cafe. While they were working, she asked him what activities he would do in the summer holidays, but he tells her that he will stay at home all summer trying new video games. This answer was shocking for her, as she suggested that he go to the pool or the beach because he had not practiced swimming since high school. At that moment, Sakaki comes to tell them that this conversation seems very interesting, and he wanted them to go to the beach right after work, and he will take care of moving their things home, and whispered in Ami's ear that this plan will make their relationship develop further. And when they went to the beach, Ami was feeling like a male when she noticed the huge size of the Uzaki obai, as they were like weapons of mass destruction. Then she remembered Sakaki's plan, but she noticed Sakurai's disappearance because he wanted to try long-distance swimming, and when he got to the beach, they went to him and started criticizing his strange appearance because he was on the beach and not in the swimming club. After that, Ami wanted him to stay with Uzaki because leaving her alone could make her a victim of harassment, and she also told him that he should compliment Uzaki a little, and since he is stupid, he became a compliment to Ami, so she slapped him on his ugly face. When he went to her to tell her that she looked great, she pushed him and ran away from him, as she was trying to hide her shyness while she was talking with Ami. Minutes later, Kisaki comes with a watermelon and a baseball bat because he wanted to share a fun game with his friends, as Sakurai has to find a watermelon to crush it with a baseball bat while blindfolded, while his friends are trying to guide him. But Uzaki was treating him like a fighting video game, right left top square, so much so that Sakurai started to lose his concentration and stumbled to fall on top of her, and he was holding something soft to the touch, thinking it was a jellyfish. But Ami tells him that he really grabbed the watermelon, so Uzaki put the watermelon in front of him at the right time. As he started comparing the texture of the watermelon to the thing he was touching moments before to find out that he was really holding the watermelon, so Uzaki was annoyed by that awkward situation. But her mood changed when they arrived at Sakaki's summer house because she was impressed by the furniture, and even by the light control switches and door handles. When they opened the fridge, they found a huge amount of meat, so they prepared coals for a barbecue. And while they are enjoying the barbecue, Sakaki tells them that they should try something new, as he suggested they go to the forest at night. They went and everyone was excited except Sakurai to tell them that he does not play horror games and does not watch horror movies because they are scary. And when Uzaki discovered his weakness, she wanted to scare him as she took his phone and ran away, so he chased her in complete darkness. At that moment, Sakaki tells Ami that he expected the opposite to happen because no one expected Sakurai to be afraid like girls, so she asked him why he wanted to develop Sakurai and Uzaki's relationship, and he replied saying that Sakurai is his close friend and he wanted him to get out of his isolation and enjoy college life. Suddenly, they found Sakurai holding Uzaki's hand, and he was frozen in place like a statue because of the horror, so they came straight home. And he was feeling so tired that he fell asleep immediately after lying on the couch, while Uzaki wanted him to wake up to play with her. So she approached him, but he pulled her hard and started hugging her. She tried to escape, but to no avail as he was hugging her hard. So she gave in to him because she was the reason for his fatigue, and in the morning while he was brushing his teeth with Uzaki, she told him that he liked the cuddle pillow. Ami and Kasaki were overhearing the conversation and realized that there was something important they had missed. Returning from their beach trip, Sakurai suddenly calls Uzaki and asks her out because he needs her, as Uzaki had taken it as a date request. So she was blushing from shame when she went to him, and strangely enough, he was also stuttering in speech because of shyness to suddenly ask her to accompany him to enter the cat cafe, as this is his first time, so he feels ashamed to enter alone. It was a disappointment for Uzaki, and yet she decided to accompany him, but before that she punished him for manipulating her feelings. When they entered, Sakurai became impressed by the amount of cats in the cafe, so he got excited and asked the waitress if he could touch them, as she told him that he could as long as the cats were not afraid of him. So he started petting one of the gray cats, but became nervous when the cat sat in his lap, and he was acting like an idiot because it was his first time petting a cat. So he wanted to thank Uzaki because she came with him and asked her to choose a reward, and she was telling him that her birthday was coming soon and she would turn 20. But he did not hear what she said because his leg was numb due to his lack of movement so that the cat could sleep. So she quickly took the cat away from him and touched him by the foot, and it was so painful that he began to scream and beg her to stop. But she was amused when she saw him in an awkward position begging and screaming like a helpless girl. At that moment the waitress comes and she wanted them to provide this kind of toys for the house, so they left the place as Uzaki was happy, while Sakurai was regretting that he brought these annoying ones with him. Then she reminded him that her birthday was on the 7th of August and then she left. And since he was not used to these things, he asked for help from Akihiko and Ami to choose a suitable birthday gift with him, as he was afraid of the criticism he would receive from Uzaki while giving her the gift. So Ami was advising him to follow his intuition just to not complicate the matter, and when he was standing in front of the store thinking about a suitable gift, suddenly she calls him to tell him that she would like to go out with him because she needs him. He went to her and was ashamed of her because he thought she wanted to date him, but she wanted him to go to the bar with her in order to drink at his expense, so he grabbed his head and started screaming at the top of his voice, because she meant to go to the bar from the very beginning, but he did not understand her intention. When they came in and started drinking, she realized that this drink tastes very pungent, so she ordered a beer like senpai, as he advised her to eat and drink at the same time to soften the bitter taste of beer. The experience was great for her, which made her want to order more after Sakurai agreed, but he almost had a heart attack when he noticed that she was ordering in a crazy way to tell him that his wallet was dead. After the waitress brought their orders, he jumped on the Russian octopus balls, but his tongue almost burned because of their very hot taste, and he needed any drink as he began to beg her, and after he cooled down a little, he realized that Uzaki was drinking recklessly, although this is her first time. The drinking session was over, and when they were coming home, Uzaki was so drunk that she hugged the lamppost thinking it was Sakurai. He realized that her condition is so tragic and she can't go home alone, so he wanted to accompany her. But she wanted to drink more beer in his apartment, as she was sitting on the floor and was reluctant to move from her place, and the worst of this is that he noticed that it was very late and Uzaki would not be able to get on the train. So he wanted to call a car, but his wallet was completely empty because of Uzaki's orders at the bar. At that moment he realizes that he has no solution but to take this idiot home with him. After they bought some water and alcohol they went home. She kept drinking and she wanted to play, but he was feeling sleepy and wanted to sleep trying to ignore her. So she started to get bored and she wanted to know if senpai was really asleep, as she wanted to kiss him. But when she almost kissed him suddenly he wakes up and quickly moves away from her because of his fear of her. Then he threw the blanket over her face to tell her that he wanted to sleep, and in fact moments later she collapsed due to fatigue. The next day, her condition was so bad that she started vomiting non-stop, and strangely she doesn't know the reason because she's an idiot. So Sakurai tells her that the reason was excessive drinking last night, and he was bragging in front of her saying that adults drink in moderation. When he finished cleaning the house of leftovers and cans of drinks, he went to Uzaki where she thanked him for sharing her first experience of drinking. He smiled at her and was going to congratulate her on reaching the age of 20. But she suddenly vomited in a disgusting way. Days later, when Sakurai went to meet Uzaki, he found her depressed because she regretted harassing him while celebrating her birthday at the bar, and her mother had even sent him a sum of money as compensation for the losses caused by Uzaki. But he was completely dismissive of the money because they are friends to tell her that she doesn't have to worry about getting her bed dirty because it's her first time. But at that moment, the students, when they heard their conversation, began to think that Sakurai exploits Uzaki. They were even going to call the police, so he took the money from her. And when he was at work, and specifically in the break, Ami and her father wanted to find out what happened during Uzaki's birthday. He sighed and told them everything that happened, except her dirtying the house, as he began to cry, saying that she is a woman after all. This phrase made Ami and her father's enthusiasm turn into tension and anxiety, because they came to believe that Sakurai had committed a crime against Uzaki. When he told them that she had become gloomy since the night of her birthday and that he wanted her to return to her usual mood, Akihiko gave him a ticket to eat and try the games for free at the soon-to-be-held fireworks festival, and asked him to take Uzaki with him. While Ami was telling him that he should say nice words to Uzaki, like complimenting her clothes or even her hairstyle. And after the evening when he went to the festival, he found Uzaki in a beautiful traditional dress and apologized for arriving late, while she was thanking him for inviting her to the festival. But he realized that she was still depressed, so he asked her to go have fun. And literally they tried everything from food, ice cream, and even toys, so she thanked him and was telling him that she should thank Akihiko too. At that moment he realized that she was still in a bad mood. So he decided to follow Ami's advice and started complimenting her on her clothes, hairstyle, and even her sandals and hairpin, and this was an effective way that Uzaki was back to normal again. And when he was talking to her, he suddenly slipped out his tongue to tell her that she was cute, so she blushed because he was flirting with her, which made her hit him on the head so hard that he fainted. While doing so, he saw memories of his high school days, when he once found Uzaki desperate because she failed to swim despite adhering to Sakurai's advice, so he advised her to keep going and left. While she was trying to swim well, she noticed Sakurai coming down to the pool too, and she realized that he was very good. Then he approached her with a sullen look and advised her to stay calm while swimming. And when they were coming home, they found a fireworks festival, so he went and brought 2 pieces of corn, and they were enjoying watching the fireworks. But Uzaki was the only one enjoying this moment. He finally regained consciousness and found himself in Uzaki's lap, so he wanted to get up. But she prevented him because the paramedic told her that he had to stay for a while after waking up. She apologizes to him because she was the reason, but he tells her that nothing happened. Basically, he is at fault because he went too far and asked her to listen to what he had to say. As he began to remind her of his first meeting with her last year in college, and told her that he was very angry with her at first because she was annoying, and yet he managed to get out of his isolation. He even visited many places thanks to her. He wanted to visit alone to avoid the fuss. But it was really amusing when Uzaki accompanied him, so he began to tell her that her constant sadness was clouding the atmosphere, and he wanted her to go with him to visit other places. At that moment, the fireworks had started as they were watching it together, while thinking about the places they would go tomorrow. Days later, when Sakurai bought a new mattress with the amount he received from Uzaki's mother, he had a large amount of money left, so he decided to return it himself because Uzaki was dismissive. While he was going home with her, she wondered if he was nervous about going to a girl's house for the first time, and as soon as he heard this sentence, he became really nervous as his stomach became sore and his condition became terrible. But she tells him that there is no need to be nervous and afraid because her house is not haunted. Minutes later, when they arrived home, Suki greeted them, and she is the mother of 43-year-old Uzaki. However, when Sakurai looked at her, she started to feel scared and nervous. He told her that he would give her the money and leave quickly. But when he noticed the presence of 2 cute cats, he decided to stay a little, as she brought him into the guest room and let him sit with Hana while she was very far away from him. Suddenly, she started punishing Hana because she spent the whole night at a young man's house, and Hana didn't tell her mother at that time that the senpai she always talks about is a young man. And after Itsuki returned to her place, suddenly the cat comes and jumps on her to sit in her lap. At that moment, Sakurai was staring at the cat because she was cute. But Suki had completely misunderstood because she thought he was staring at that thing. And it gets even more complicated when Uzaki suggests him to pet the cat, saying that she is shy in front of strangers, but she will get used to him when he visits her a lot. At that moment, Suki was going to die of fear and shame, Literally, she was a fool like her daughter because the next day she went to a cafe and asked Ami and Akihiko about Uzaki, as she became surprised when she discovered that her daughter is skilled at her job, adding that she attracts many customers and she is close to children. At that moment, Ami said that Uzaki is not the only one who attracts customers, because Sakurai also attracts a large number of married women, and she was talking about his muscles and height. So Tsuki became nervous and wanted to investigate Sakurai's personality, as she asked them about whether he likes married or slightly older women. This question was like a thunderbolt for Ami and Akihiko. So they told her that he was not a hunter for married women, but just a loser fool, nothing more, as she was relieved after hearing the answer and was embarrassed. And when she was going to tell her daughter that she was leaving, she heard her talking to Sakurai about his preference for the mature type, to tell her that he wanted to taste it as soon as possible. So Tsuki completely collapsed after hearing this conversation. And of course he meant coffee beans. Days later, while Uzaki defeated Sakurai in a video game, she began to mock him and called him a loser dog, even though she managed to defeat him once, to tell her that her mother is better than her because she is calm and kind. So Uzaki became angry and was watching her mother all the time that she walked in on her while she was taking a shower, and the next day during work, her speaking style had completely changed as she became imitating her mother in everything. When Ami noticed that she started spraying ice water on Sakurai, so he confessed and said that he was at fault. While they were talking about this problem, suddenly Uzaki comes and talks to them in the same way as her mother, and when he asked her to stop, she told him that his mood is fickle because yesterday he wanted her to change from herself. He grabbed his head and started screaming at the top of his voice like a madman because he can't stand this nonsense. And yet she didn't stop and was telling him that he should apologize to her first. So he bent down in front of her to tell her that he was sorry and she should return to her former self. After they reconciled, they returned after a few moments to quarrel like fools, so much so that a little girl scolded them. And upon discovering that this was just a lover's quarrel, she gifted them a lottery ticket. So after completing the work, they tried their luck and actually won the jackpot, which is a free 2-day trip to Tottori. And while they were at the airport fighting as usual, there were 2 people spying on them, maybe Ami and her idiot dad. Then they came out of the airport and were guessing at the places they would visit because this is a golden opportunity as Tottori is one of the major cities in Japan. So Sakurai suggested that Uzaki go to the dunes to try sandboarding. But as usual, Uzaki made fun of him to tell him that he is a real loner, as the reason he went to the dunes is his love of trying individual activities. While they are chatting in front of the airport door, a speeding car comes and almost hits them, only to discover that the reckless driver is Sakaki and the intruder Ami was with him. They rode with them to reach their destination quickly. The reason why Ami chased after them was her desire not to miss any important moment in this journey. Sakaki had even come for the same reason, and was playing the role of the desired demoness, as he wished his friend to break the red line and reach the depths of Uzaki's heart. After about an hour, they reached the largest sand dune in Japan, as its area was stretching for kilometers. So immediately upon arrival, Uzaki and Sakurai decided to hold a running race between them to the sea, and the bet was ice cream. And when the race started, Sakurai took off like a bullet as he was athletic, and yet she beat him because she used a sled. But her luck was very bad because the slope was over, so she tried to run because if she lost, she would have to buy ice cream for that lonely loser. He was really a loser in everything but sports as he managed to catch up and pass Uzaki despite the long distance that was between them. When they arrived at the sea, they realized that the race they had run was just a trifle compared to the beauty of the place. At that moment, a tourist came to them who wanted Sakurai to take a picture of him while he was forming a heart with his beloved. After that, when he wanted to walk a little with Uzaki, he discovered that she was unable to walk because of running, which made him pull her while she was sitting on the sled, and the foolish villains were watching them from afar, but later joined them to observe more closely, where they decided to visit a museum known for anime figures because Tottori City is the source and birthplace of many manga artists. And not only that, but it is also known for making small figurines in general. While they were in that museum, Uzaki wanted to get 4 anime figures at Sakurai's expense. Then they came out of the museum to find a famous statue, and when Uzaki noticed the rabbit statue, she quickly went to buy 2 buns in the shape of a rabbit. And the owner of the store came with her to take the price of the cake from Sakurai. Then she ate one and the other she gave it to him just to annoy him, as she was imitating the voice of the rabbit whenever Sakurai wanted to bite off the cake, even though he wanted her to stop. But she took the opportunity and ate half of the cake in one bite, and she wanted to complete the other half, but he stopped her and tasted the cake. but he stopped when he remembered Uzaki's mouth, so she took the opportunity and ate the other half. But a few moments later, she realized that what she had done was considered contact with Sakurai's mouth, so she was ashamed and looked towards his mouth in a ridiculous way. They then go to a shrine to pray, and when they wanted to try the lucky leaves, Uzaki notices that the great lucky leaf contains an accurate description of Sakurai's personality, so she blushed. And suddenly Sakaki comes to tell them that this place is for lovers and loved ones, and that all the time people have been thinking Sakurai and Uzaki are a couple. So he is angry and nervous, while Uzaki tells them that it is impossible for her to date Sakurai. It gets even more complicated when they went to the mountains and found hearts painted on the cable car. So the loner wanted to share the seat with his friend, but the stupid couple started making fun of them and called them gay, which made the loner share Uzaki the seat. But when he realized that he had to concentrate on the trip, he started screaming and reminding Uzaki of the real reason why they came to this city, and asked her to just enjoy this trip without thinking about other things. But they fell into the trap again when they went to the hotel, so Sakurai, when he was in the room with his friend, began to ask him to stop because his relationship with Uzaki is just a normal relationship. But Sakaki approached him suspiciously to explain everything, while Uzaki had come to the room and took a picture of them. Then they went to the sauna, but again Uzaki, while she was going to get a towel from Sakurai, suddenly she slips and falls on his lap, where she started saying strange words, which made the receptionist blush. After spending some time in the hot spring and trying out some games, it was time for them to go visit some statues that were the embodiment of some ancient Japanese legends.